What if the person who never raises their voice could outmaneuver their enemies with nothing but quiet wisdom? No magic, no threats, just the power of understanding human nature. This isn't fiction. It's the INFJ personality in action. How do these empathetic strategists turn conflict into growth and make their rivals regret underestimating them? The answers might surprise you. Let's dive into the playbook of the rarest personality type, the INFJ, and uncover how they turn enemies into footnotes in their success story. 1. Leverage empathy to disarm aggression. INFJs don't just feel empathy, they use it like a tactical tool. Picture this. A coworker storms into the office, blaming the INFJ for a missed deadline. Instead of firing back, the INFJ takes a breath, softens their tone, and says, "You're stressed about this project, aren't you? Let's figure it out together." Suddenly, the coworker's anger deflates. Why? INFJs recognize that aggression is rarely about them. It's about the attacker's unmet needs. By addressing the emotion behind the attack, they cut the tension like a knife through butter. The enemy, expecting a fight, is disarmed by compassion. Over time, this approach builds a reputation. You can't rattle them. They're too understanding. Enemies either retreat or rethink their behavior, leaving the INFJ in control. 2. Out-strategize with quiet intuition. INFJs are the Sherlock Holmes of social dynamics. They notice everything, a twitch of the eye, a change in tone, patterns in behavior, and connect dots others miss. Imagine a family member who constantly undermines them at gatherings. The INFJ doesn't snap. Instead, they wait. They notice the relative always criticizes them after 3 glasses of wine. So, the INFJ preemptively steers conversations toward the relative's hobbies or achievements. When the relative starts sipping that 3rd drink, the INFJ has already redirected the spotlight. The critic, disarmed by the sudden praise, fumbles for insults that no longer land. INFJs win by staying 3 steps ahead, turning their intuition into a roadmap for navigating even the messiest conflicts. 3. Silence speaks louder than words. When INFJs go silent, it's a calculated move. Say a classmate mocks their quiet nature during a group project. The INFJ doesn't argue or defend themselves. They simply stop speaking, locking eyes with the critic until the room feels uncomfortably quiet. The bully, desperate to fill the silence, rambles nervously while others cringe. The INFJ silence does 2 things. It exposes the bully's insecurity and forces the group to question who's really in charge. Silence isn't passive, it's a power play. By refusing to engage, INFJs let their enemies drown in their own noise, all while maintaining an unshakable aura of calm. 4. Kill them with unshakable kindness. INFJs weaponize kindness like a warm hug that suffocates negativity. Suppose a neighbor spreads gossip about them being stuck up. The INFJ responds by baking cookies for the neighbor, leaving a note. "Heard you've been having a rough week. Hope these help." The neighbor is thrown into chaos. Do they double down on the rumors and look like a liar, or sheepishly accept the kindness? Either way, the INFJ's reputation as the nice one solidifies. Meanwhile, bystanders start whispering, "Why would anyone trash talk someone so thoughtful?" INFJs know kindness isn't weakness. It's a trap that makes enemies question their own motives. 5. Master the art of strategic withdrawal. INFJs don't ghost. They vanish like smoke. When a toxic friend starts draining their energy, the INFJ doesn't announce their exit. They quietly phase out, answering texts slower, skipping hangouts, and fading from the person's orbit. The toxic friend, confused, oscillates between anger, "Who do they think they are?" and panic, "Did I do something wrong?" But the INFJ is already gone, investing time in people who reciprocate their warmth. By withdrawing without explanation, they deny the enemy closure, leaving them stuck in a loop of self-doubt. The message is clear. You're not worth my energy. 6. Turn criticism into a mirror. INFJs are masters of reflection. If someone snaps, "You're too idealistic," the INFJ responds with a gentle, "What scares you about idealism?" Suddenly, The critic is forced to confront their own cynicism. The INFJ doesn't defend themselves. They turn the conversation into a therapy session for the attacker. This tactic works because most bullies aren't prepared for introspection. They either backtrack, "I didn't mean it like that," or storm off, realizing they've met their match. INFJs use questions like a spotlight, exposing the enemy's insecurities without lifting a finger. 7. Weaponize personal growth. Every insult fuels an INFJ's evolution. If a rival calls them naive for advocating for a cause, the INFJ doesn't sulk. They launch a community initiative. They organize fundraisers, write articles, or mobilize volunteers until their efforts make headlines. The enemy, who mocked their passion, is left scrambling to explain why they didn't support the cause. INFJs don't seek revenge. They let their growth speak for itself. Success isn't just a goal. It's a middle finger to anyone who doubted them. 8. Build alliances through authentic connection. While enemies plot, INFJs build armies of loyal allies. At work, they remember co-workers' kids' names. At parties, they ask deep questions. What's something you're proud of that no one knows about? Over time, people gravitate to their warmth, creating a network of supporters. When the enemy tries to badmouth them, the defense squad steps in. "Are you kidding? INFJ helped me through a crisis last month." INFJs don't need to fight dirty. Their relationships act as a shield. 9. Let karma do the dirty work. INFJs have a sixth sense for patience. Say a teammate steals their idea in a meeting. Instead of calling them out, the INFJ sits back and watches. Weeks later, the stolen idea flops due to poor execution. The INFJ, prepared with backup data, presents a refined version that wows the room. They never say, "I told you so," but their calm competence says it all. By letting karma handle the heavy lifting, INFJs stay above the fray while their enemies sink themselves. 10. Redefine victory on their own terms. For INFJs, winning isn't about humiliation, it's about peace. While enemies obsess over gossip or one-upmanship, INFJs build a life rich in meaning. They nurture friendships, dive into creative projects, and find joy in small moments. A sunset, a good book, a heartfelt conversation. Years later, the enemy is still stuck in the same petty patterns, but the INFJ has moved mountains. They don't gloat. They've forgotten the feud entirely. True victory? Living so well that their enemies' opinions become irrelevant. Conclusion? So, do INFJs destroy their enemies? Not in the way you'd expect. They don't play the game. They rewrite the rules. While others waste energy on grudges, INFJs invest in growth, empathy, and quiet resilience. Their enemies don't lose because the INFJ fought them. They lose because the INFJ refused to stay on the battlefield. The real genius? INFJs don't just put their enemies to shame. They inspire everyone around them to rise above pettiness. Want to beat your rivals? Take a lesson from the INFJ. Sometimes, the greatest power is knowing when to walk away and thrive